Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I'm here today with a bit of a, let's call it a rematch or a redemption, or I'm having another go basically. Now, in the last video that you saw from me, I did a Seahorse one pull gel print, which was inspired by the previous video, which was a butterfly one pull gel print, which was fantastic. It was a great result, so much so that I ended up framing the print and putting it in my dining room. Now, when it came to working with the seahorse masks, there was a different sort of scenario in. I tried using the same technique, but in my mind, it didn't really work. And this is the print we created. Now, it's cute, it's a bit naive, it's fun, but it's certainly not what I normally produce, and it's not what I wanted to produce on that day. It was basically trying to use techniques in the same way as I did previously. The reason it didn't work is the masks have a lot of solid areas about them, whereas butterflies have all of those tiny apertures which gave the final print a lacy look. So now I've proved that lesson, I want to redeem myself and do it in the way I would normally use these masks, and that will be in a multi-pull gel print. So let's put that out of the way. So fingers crossed this is going to work. Now, the masks that we used were these masks. Now they look like this because they've got paint on them, obviously, from the previous gel print. One of the mistakes I made was I used all of them. This time we're not going to use all of them. We're only going to use some of them. So that's something, we'll get to that when we get to it. I'm going to work in wet strength tissue only because I'm going to be doing multiple pulls with the same pieces of tissue. I could do it with gift wrap tissue, but I would have to wait between pulls for the paint on the tissue to fully dry, because gift wrap tissue can become very, very fragile. So where do we want to start? Now I need to create a background. Then on that background, I need to create a color scheme that is going to translate into all of the bodies of my seahorse. It'll make sense. Then once that print is done, we need to create another thing on the gel plate to put the masks on. I'll just show you, it's going to be so much easier. Right, first things first, I'm going to create myself a green background. And I'm going to do a bit of a mix of, this is light olive green by Liquitex, and this is just their basic white. Doing about a 50-50 mix. This is purely for me as a safeguard. I'm doing it so that when I put on the other colours and lift it, if there's gaps where you would normally see the paper behind, if that happens on this print, you will see this vibrant green, which is wonderful, and I love it. And little highlights coming through will look just like that. They will look like highlights on the seahorses or in the ocean or on whatever I put on here. So I'm just going to come in and try and get that on in one piece. I'm not great. That's why I cut my squares to 15 inches square, because I know, me being me, what happens is if I cut it 12 by 12, it's never going to match the plate. And also my gel press is so old that over time it is actually distorted slightly in shape. Now I'm going to use the opportunity to pick up any extra bits on the sides, because you never know. I might use them for something, because I don't know what this print will eventually be used for. It could just be, I mean, if it's as good as the butterfly one is, it may also go in a frame, but who knows? There are no guarantees when it comes to gel printing. Just put that down and just brayer that over there. Just trying to give myself options is what I'm saying. So, right, so this is our first coating. As you can see, I just wanted something on there. I have been a bit kind of risque with the colours I'm using, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I'm going to use these three colours to do my seahorses. I wanted to have these three colours because I want them to be highly contrasting to the colours that I'm going to use when it comes to the ocean. And for the ocean, currently, I say currently because I'm going to hold court on this one, these are the colours I'm going to use for the ocean. So I now need to ombre. Now, when you come to doing an ombre on a plate this size, it's a bit tricky because obviously if I've got a 4-inch brayer, I have to work across. So I've pulled out every brayer I've got. So I've got 2 small ones, so I'll do one in one color, one in the other color. And I do have a big mama one, which I'll do the middle one with, which hopefully will blend them out into each other. I better stop humming and hawing really and just do this, shouldn't I? Now, if there's any green on here left, because I can see there is a slight bit of green on here, it doesn't matter to me because I'm going to be doing more patterning over the top of the seahorse body stuff. Let's start here. Come on out, you come. Right. And I'm going to put the other colour. I'm going to put the main part of the colour at the bottom in the middle. And this on this side, I'm good from the top. Now, ombre is one of those effects. It works or it doesn't work. I'm not overly bothered by it working or not working. I'm just trying to get a variation of colour in so all of our seahorses don't look identical. So I'm going to start with one brayer, and I'm just going to brayer out the pink. The pink is called Rose by Lucas Krill. I have to move quickly because paint will start drying. It's been raining for days and days and days here. However, for once it's a sunny day today. Right, I can't say it's warm, but it's there. Now, as you can see, by using a bigger brayer, I can blend the edges across. Right, now I just want to try and tidy up this so I've got streaks in it. And there's a lot of paint on there, so let's just take that off and pull that off there. Right, let's get our original green and put this over the top of here. Trying to get it relatively in line with it, but I'm not going to beat myself up if it's not. And just stretch that out a little bit. Now, the majority of this coloration is going to be covered by the ocean colour, which is why I'm not hugely upset by what's happening here. So I'm just going to let that sit for a second or two. Just a little bit more. Actually, well, that's doing. Let's look at the seahorses. Right, so this is roughly, this piece of foam board is roughly the size of a 12 by 12. Now, I want to make a decision as to the arrangement of the seahorses now, so that I've already got it there, because when I put the background down onto a wet surface with these between, I need to move a bit whippity snip. I need to move quickly. Right, I like the little ones. I like these. I think I'm going to have one of each of these. I have that one taken out. That one taken out. Right. Now, I have to also remember that putting them down like this means when I lift them, they'll be flipped over, so they'll be in reverse. So, and I could even decide to have less than this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I don't like 6. Let's take you away. That feels right, and I move that down a bit. Now, there's going to be other stuff in here, like bubbles. I'm going to stamp fish and stuff like that. So these 3 will go to one side, which I'm quite happy about because I like the colour of those. Right, just going to put these gently to one side, just so I don't knock them. I'm going to lift this up. Let's see what we've got underneath. That's lovely. Right, just put this to one side and let's get the cleanup sheet on here because there's plenty of stuff on here that can be rescued. And you never know, this might make another pole because I'm going to have to use a reasonable amount of blue paint to make the ocean. And when making the ocean, if I've got an excess of paint, I may well come in and just give it a second pull with this piece. So just see where we're up to on this. There you go, that's giving me something. So just lift off any spare little pieces that are on here, because I don't really want the next layer to get too contaminated with the colours on here. Now I'm going to have to stop the video now because the piece that we've just created needs to be fully dried for the next stage of what I'm going to create, because I now need to create some form of texture that could translate plausibly into the bodies of the seahorses. So here we are, I've put it back down on the gel plate basically just to hold it in position. Now what I want to do is I want to put fine detail into this, and what I want to do also is remember that this is how my piece looks. Now, because it's going to be flipped, basically this is over here and this is down here. So if I focus on doing something across there, it's going to pretty much match this. In fact, I could do across there and by there, to be honest with you. So I'm going to come in and do a little bit of stamping, just to add little bits to this. Now I'm going to come in with the pale colour. This was the rose. I only need a tiddly little bit of this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp, because I'm using the same three colours, I'm going to stamp the lightest colour on this area, the darkest colour on this area, and then the green will go pretty much all over the rest of it. So I'm just pulling in some of that pink, and I'm going to use, this is Sketchy Spirals, it's one of my designs. So I'm going to pick that up, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to pop it in pretty much where we thought things might happen. I'm just going to do a little bit here as well, just in case. It's subtle enough it might pick up. Now this needs to go directly into water, so I'm going to have to go and nip and do that a second. I will be back. So there you go, that's in the water. Let's see if I can just pick up this little bit off here, just so I'm not contaminating the next colour. Now I need to explain roughly why I'm doing this. If I put the pattern down now, when I use the masks, obviously the masks are going to conceal these areas, so everything else will turn blue. If I tried to do the pattern afterwards, it's not going to work, because then I could possibly contaminate the rest of it. And I don't want to do that. So let's just take that off there. So I'm now going to come in and I want to use this colour. This is the magenta colour. And I need a very, very little bit of this. I don't want much of that at all. Now I'm going to use this. Now this is Feather Doodle Trio, and this is by Darcy Sanders. And I liked this area of it, not so much this area. I mean, if I felt I could have cut that off, but I like this stamp anyway, so I'm not going to cut it off. What I am going to do is try and be a little bit careful of when I'm putting this in to the paint, I'm not really getting the paint onto that area. And I'm going to come here. Now I know that I've got seahorses up here. I know there's a seahorse or a couple of seahorses over here. Now, you can't see this on here. That's okay, because if you were to look closely, you may well see it. Let's put another one in there, I feel. There you go. So now I've got that on the go. I just want to come in now and I want to do something with this. Now, we know we've got subtle. Subtle is fine, because if it's too garish, it's going to be all over the place. Once that's stuck to my brayer, or something from an older thing. So what I'm going to do now is I wanted to come in with something that might look like scales. So I've got this plastic mesh. You've seen me use it before. I get it in a craft store. It's a very old technique where you used to like almost do cross stitch of wool, and you can cut it and make dimensional things like Kleenex tissue boxes, flower pot holders, stuff like that. And I thought if I use it in this orientation, it would give me diamonds. So if there were diamonds coming down the body of Oh, I need to take that off, don't I? Down the body of a seahorse. That might give a slight illusion of scales. I have to put a little bit more of this out because this is quite a large stencil to be using. Not a stencil, mark making tool to be using. So now there are no guarantees where it's going to actually print, but I'm going to try and get it as much over everything as I can. See, there's just in the background, there's something that might represent scales. Paint all of my fingers. So it's really subtle on that side. I'm wondering whether I need to come in and try this with another color as well. I'm liking it on this. I would like it a bit darker over here. Let's see if I can just tickle this up a little bit. Right, so I don't really want to go away from the color scheme I've got. Come on, you can come off. I think I want to add just a tiny touch of teal or something. Right, I'm going to use this phthalo. I know this is for the ocean, but if I use just the tiniest bit of that, hopefully when I brayer it out, it will, yeah, it gets mixed in with the other color. I think I can live with that, because also I'm sticking this mesh into it, which has already got another color on it. Yes, that's sort of it. Right. Right, now I don't think there's going to be any seahorses right smack in the middle, but I'm willing to put some in there, even if it does get covered up. And maybe just introduce this over here a little bit. Right, that's good. That's giving me the effect I was hoping for. So I don't know whether you can see this, but you can see now the little tiny bits of coloration in there, which is wonderful. Now the question is, I wish I knew where the heads of the seahorses were going to be, because I'd like to have those slightly lighter than the rest of the body, and that's just not going to happen. I can't. I will try afterwards to see whether I can somehow lighten up those areas, but I doubt it. So this is going to be the color of my seahorses. Is there enough contrast in it? Is there enough drama? I would quite like black in there of some sort, or at least an indigo. Let me just put these paints by and have a look around. I think what I'm going to do is, I've got this indigo here. I used it in the first seahorse print, and I quite like the colour of it. And I think what I want to do is, I really like the spirals on here. That really appeals to me. However, I think I need quite a bit of drama, because when the seahorses are done, I have to paint in the eye. I mean, if we look at the seahorses, there is no hole for the eye, so I'm going to have to paint the eye in, and the eye is going to be painted black. So I need to have it a bit dramatic on the body. So I'm going to use this, which is Sketchy Circles by me. Now, if there's any thing that I use in any of my videos, whether it's stencils, foam stamps, anything that I say is one of my designs, what I would suggest is, if you look in the description box below the video, well, actually under the title of the video, you'll see the word more, M-O-R-E. It's usually bold. Click on that, it will open it up, and then in there at the bottom of the description, you'll see foam stamp shop quick view, stencil shop quick view at the bottom. There's also under that, it says Ceri Griffiths Designs at PM Artist Studio. So you have options. If you go to the Ceri Griffiths at PM Artist Studio, you click on that, it will take you through to their website where you see everything I've designed. If, however, you go to one of the quick view ones, it'll take you to my website where you'll see a pictorial reference of everything I've designed. Click on the image, then it'll take you through directly to that product on PM Artist Studio, so you get further information and make a decision whether it's something you wish to invest in or you want to know a little bit more about. So right, I'm just going to come in. Now I want these to be, I'm hoping that these kind of catch almost the belly type areas, which is why I'm keeping it relatively vertical. Another one down there because I don't remember where everything's going to be. Right, you watch, I'll do all of this work and then I'll forget which orientation it's supposed to be in. And you know what? I'll stick this paper in the wrong way around. Right, this needs to go in the water. Now, again, this is going to need to dry because the next stage will be creating the ocean, which will be the ombre that goes in this direction on the plate. And it'll be the one that we do in the blues and greens. Which I'm wondering whether I want to change this up and actually use this colour. Cerulean blue just seems a bit punchy to me. Maybe I'll try this blue. It's just a mixed blue. I don't know what blue it is. It's just a mixed blue. Because I think if I use the indigo, it will just be far too dark. And I might end up putting a little bit of white between. So this needs to come off here. And it needs to be put where I can reach it quite readily. So right, so let's get a head around this. So I'm going to be creating ocean. So I'm going to use, this is phthalo green. Well, I'm calling it phthalo green. This is turquoise and this is blue. So trying to work out which color I want where. I think I want that up there. I think I want that in the middle, to be honest. Now, once this whole thing is done and the print is lifted, I am going to be stamping onto the front side of the image just to complete the whole thing. I have to have these to hand because I've got to move quick when it comes to this. So I'm going to put this at the bottom. Let's put it about there, it'll be enough. Hopefully that's not too much. I'm going to put this near the top. This in the middle. I want a little bit of white. I'd like it to almost be streaked with white. Because remember, this is kind of ocean. Well, not kind of, it is supposed to be the ocean. So if there were streaks within it, that's fine. Right, fingers crossed this works. So I'm just going to bring this colour across here. Again, using different brayers, because I don't have a 12-inch wide brayer. And I don't think I even want a 12-inch wide brayer. I'm not sure I could cope with a 12-inch wide brayer. And then the blue one goes in the middle. Right, now this is still wet and I have to work very, very quickly now. I put my seahorses down and where they're landing is where they're going to be. Then I come in with this. Is this the right? I hope this is the right size. Sorry. I'm not centered, but you know what? That's fine. Right. Now, as soon as this is down, I'm going to work down with my fingers into the edges around and over the seahorses. I could use a Baron, which is this tool to flatten it all down, but that's not going to help me get down into all the little crevasses and apertures within the seahorses. And it's only by doing that am I going to pick up all of the detail that's around these beautiful seahorse designs. So it's worth taking a bit of time. This is why I'm not using gift wrap tissue, because if I did this with gift wrap tissue, I'd be in a whole world of pain because I'd probably never get it off the page afterwards. I think I'm just going to take a bit of kitchen paper and just Give it one further press just to make sure it's all pushed down. Now, as I say 100 times before, gel printing is like magic. You never know what you're going to get, or if you're going to get anything at all. You can be as skilled as you like, or you can be an absolute rank amateur who could, on their very first go, create a masterpiece which we're all hugely envious of, and the master will end up with torn paper and a whole load of brown stuff on their print that they don't like. So I'm going to come in now and I'm going to pull this print. Yes, Ceri. That's the ground. Yes, we've got something to work with there. Now these are going to come off and I'm going to put on the cleanup sheet. So I learned from the other day that if I pick these up with their, oh, those are beautiful. If I pick them up by their noses, they come up reasonably quickly. Yeah, I really do think some of these seahorses are just going to get stuck into my art journal as they are. They're absolutely beautiful. Right, I'm moving quite quickly because I don't want to lose this image. And again, down we go. Okay, right, now that's in contact with that, I can breathe a little bit. So I do love these. How beautiful is that? They're gorgeous. Let's stick them back on here and then they can dry. Yeah, I think their life as masks has just finished. I mean, these will look beautiful on a piece of art. Those are good. Oh, let's put the other ones on here. This is from the last time we did it. Right, there you go. And this is sold as a set, by the way, in PM Artist Studio, and I will put a link to them in the description box. So I think I'm going to pause the video now, guys, because I want to clean up my brayers, have a bit of a clean up around here, tidy away some of these paints because they're all over the place for me. And I want to give this a bit of time to dry for me. I won't pull it without you. Don't worry, I will bring you back. And we're back. Right, let's give this secondary pull and just clean the plate off and see what we got. We obviously cleaned the plate quite well. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not going to do anything more with this print because say I would to use, what am I saying? Say I was going to use the print we're going to finish in my art journal, this could become panels in the background which would help it out. So I'm going to leave this to one side, let it dry. Right, I think first of all, I want to start with putting some seaweed or just putting some kelp or whatever you want to call it along the bottom. And I think what I'm going to use is, these are foam stamps called Green Maiden Fern, and I forgot about them the other day. I didn't remember that I had them, and they're perfect for this. So I'm just going to put them down with some gold, just so there's something in the bottom there. I don't need a lot of gold. This is the brand I'm using, 350. It's currently my favorite gold, and actually it's been my favorite gold for quite a time now. So coming in, just gonna tap, 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 pick it up, see that there's paint on all of it. And then I'm just gonna come in and just with a little bit of a stamping, create pieces on the bottom. Now I designed all of these so that they've got areas so I can actually tuck in other branches if I wish. So just so you know, they're not three individual, well, they are three individuals, but they can be used as more than one. You can build a bigger piece is what I'm trying to say, and I'm saying it badly, I apologize. Right, I'm so pleased with this one. I think when the eyes go on it, it's going to really come to life. I'm trying not to be too literal of the seafloor, but you know what? I'm loving what I've got so far. So that already is a plus from the other day. Right, these are going to have to go into water and a bag. Okay, I wanted to play around. I like the spirals that I had in here, and they are very subtle in there, and I wanted to bring them back slightly. Not sure what color I want to bring them back, to be honest with you. I also want to remember I've got fish to go on here as well. The fish will probably go in black. Let's see, I've got, these are spirals I made. Actually, all these are, they're just made out of cardboard. I'll put a link to these. These are, I think the video is called Free Mark Making Tools, and I just shared how they are. But remember this shape and watch out next month, because I've got a new foam stamp coming out, which I'm extremely excited about. Right, now, I don't really want white for that. I think I'm going to go with that fern green. Yes, I think we're going to go with that. This is Fern Green by Lucas Krill. And I'm only choosing that because it's very opaque. And I'm liking that because if I went to the olive one, it wouldn't be as opaque. So just tap this around until I can build up stuff on there. And just another benefit of stamping with mark making tools with your print on the gel plate is that you end up with some really nice impressions, because underneath the surface has a little bit of give to it. I'm wary that this is a bit empty here, not that everything has to be full. Quite like a little bit up there. Well, I don't know whether it's going to be seen, and a little bit up there. Right, these obviously don't go into a bowl of water, because if they did, they'd be a puddle at the end of the day. So I think I want to just spray this out and have a think a second. Now I need to put some bubbles in this. I want to put some grid work into this, and I need to put the fish into this. There's lots of things I want to put into this. Right, I think I'm going to do the bubbles in white. Even if white mixes with that, that's not bad. So I'm going to use Grungy Circles, which again is another foam stamp of mine. And why wouldn't I use it? That's the question. It's my design. Why wouldn't I use it? So now I'm going to have to be really careful that I don't overdo this. And I turn my bubbles or this grungy stamp pretty much in a 90-degree when I change positions, trying to give it some variation. I'm going to come in from the side so that it's slightly different. Right, that's enough of that, Griffiths. Don't go overboard because I'll spoil it. I think what I want to do next is I might want to come in. I wanted to put a bit of a grid in, and I wanted to use this, and I was going to use white, but I think white would be the wrong choice. I'm trying to look at the colours I've got. I'm trying to avoid looking at the sides, to be honest. I don't want gold. I've got, actually, could I do gold? If I did gold again, that would actually, yes, let's do gold. I'm not introducing another colour then. I'm happier with that. So a little bit of gold. This is a non-slip draw liner. Yeah, pick it up in my cheap shops, inexpensive shops, whatever you want to call them. Right, I definitely need a piece by there. Yes, gold was the right decision. I want to bring a little bit of it in over there, a little bit lower down. I'll bring a little piece over there. I think just a little bit by there. Right, enough, stop. So, right, black for the fish. I forgot to mention, by the way I film is, if you see a transition like a fade in, fade out, or a page pull, that's usually because I've edited out something which was boring. So maybe I've edited out cleaning this plate, maybe I've edited out cleaning a stamp or something, okay? So you're not missing anything. I'm literally just trying to condense the video to be a manageable upload time and actually to be an enjoyable view for you instead of watching me do lots of just humming and hawing and not making my mind up. Right, that's black. I'm going to come in with this. Now, I've kept this quite busy, and that's on purpose because I wanted to look a bit like a coral reef. Drop it down, give them a little bit of a press. And I am going to have all my fish swimming in one direction for once, which isn't something I normally do. I normally like to have them going in opposite directions, but for some reason it just feels wrong today. Right. Okay, definitely time to pause you for real this time, and obviously this isn't going in the water. I'm going to pause you, get this fully dry, and I'm going to cut the edges off, and I'm going to paint in the black eyes on the seahorses, and when I come back we'll take a final look at it. I love this. This is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, I just, the fact that there was a printed background, and using masks as they're meant to be. The mask protects what's underneath it, and then when I put it down, I pulled all of the blue off, but saved the integrity of the design. I'd like this to have been a bit further up, but it was hit and miss. I didn't know where it was going to land. I like the fact that this is plain amongst all these because this has become my focal point. Unintentionally focal point. I like the fact that actually it's not in the middle of the print. That was just luck as well. I could come in with a marker and doodle some of this, but I love this as it is. I mean, I can imagine wrapping this round a canvas or a wood panel and hanging it in maybe a kid's room or maybe in the bathroom. As I said last time, I would have put it in a bathroom. But I'm loving that. So thank you guys for your patience. I learned a lot from doing this print, which enabled me to do this print. And as with everything, it's a learning curve. I think I've redeemed myself. Not that I need redemption, but I'm very pleased I went back in and used the masks as I knew they should be made use of to protect to cover up what we were protecting, which was the pattern. Anyway, enough of my blabbing on. Thanks very much for the support, guys, and thanks very much for your patience. I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.